Namaste. Namaste all. On behalf of Indica Moksha, I welcome you each and every on this occasion of the celebration of Festival of Oneness, on the occasion of the celebration of Adi Shankaracharya Bhagavad Adi Shankaracharya Jayanti Mahotsav 2026. We will start the session by some mantras and invocations. Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha. Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amrutangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Sahana Hotu Sahano Gunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvina Vaditamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. King Jyotistava Bhanumana Hanime Ratrau Pradipadikam Syadevam Ravideepa Darshana Vidau King Jyotirakhyahime Chakshustasya Nimilanadi Samaye Kinhirgyo Darshane Kintatrahamato Bhavan Paramatum Jyotistadasmi Prabhu. Today we are having the privilege of listening the talk of Swamini Brahmaprajnananda ji. I will briefly introduce Swamini Brahmaprajnananda ji. You have been listening to her consistently for the last couple of years, but again, for the benefit of the newcomers, I will introduce her once again. Swamini Brahmaprajnananda Saraswati has dedicated her life to sharing the timeless teachings of Advaita Vedanta and Sanatana Dharma. She conducts Vedanta courses, podcasts, and retreats for the group in Mumbai and for the people across the world online. Her teachings seamlessly flow from the areas of self-growth to self-discovery. A disciple of Pujya Swami Dayananda Saraswati ji, she has studied Vedanta and Sanskrit in full-time residential course for 3 years and was part-time student of Swami Brahmavidananda. Swamini is a former psychologist and in her last leadership position as a country head of an international organization, impacted the lives of more than 15,000 street children annually. For more details regarding the Swamini ji, discoveratma.com. Kindly visit her website. Over to you, Swamini ji. Namaste.
Namaste, Sanjeev ji, Nitin ji. It is a privilege and honor to be there every year, and congratulations to the organizers for the 6th edition of the Festival of Oneness. Om Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha. The topic for today is the greatness of Adi Shankaracharya's Prakarana Granthas. We have inherited a glorious legacy from Bhagavad Pada. So besides his phenomenal contribution to Sanatana Dharma, there are a series of written works which are really capturing the oral tradition. And these are threefold. One, of course, are the Bhashyas, the commentaries, the oral tradition that is captured in writing on what we call Prasthanatrayi, the Upanishads, the Bhagavad Gita, and the Brahma Sutras. The second are his stotrams, beautiful devotional hymns that express the timeless reality and also allow us to invoke the devotee in us by relating to different devatas. So as a part of Shanmata worship, unifying the worship of Devi, Ganapati, Shiva, Skanda, Surya, he has broken free from who is superior. Is it Shiva or Vishnu? And of course, the third great written contribution are independent texts, or what we refer to as Prakarana Granthas, speaking of Advaita. So in this special weekend session today and tomorrow, we will focus on the Prakarana Granthas. So first of all, the Bhagavad Gita, the Upanishads, and definitely Brahma Sutras may present a lot of challenges for beginners. And so we need Prakarana Granthas. Prakarana means a topic or a subject matter, and Grantha means a text or a book. So texts that deal with certain topics is a Prakarana Grantha. It is also defined as Shastra Siddhanta Pratipadaka Granthaha. So Granthaha, the text, Pratipadakaha, that illumines Shastra Siddhanta, the teaching of the Shastra. So a book of fiction cannot be called Prakarana Grantha. Only what is revealed in the Shastra is presented in the Prakarana Grantha. Another definition is Shastraika Desha Sambadham Shastra Karyantare Sthitam. So whatever might be the topic of one Prakarana Grantha, it is related to one part of the Shastra. Because of course Shastra is voluminous. And it may be found, Shastra Karyantare Sthitam, it might also contain topics that are present in other Shastras. So now the question is, what is so unique about a Prakarana Grantha and how is knowledge presented in it? So unlike the Bhashyas, which are already commentaries on existing texts, these being independent compositions, the way knowledge has been presented by Adi Shankaracharya and subsequently other authors is as follows. One, it is Advaita Vedanta is presented in a systematic, progressive manner. Two, the topics and the kind of questions that are generally covered are, one, qualities of an adhikari. So if one wants to get married, then whether you are going on a dating site or a matrimonial website, you will indicate what your qualifications are, correct? So now for this moksha pursuit, what are the qualities of an adhikari? Who is a qualified person for the pursuit? Two, who is the jiva? You have some ideas of yourself, but what is the jiva swarupa? What is the nature of jivatma? Three, who or what is Bhagwan? Ishvara Swarupa, the nature of Ishvara. Four, is this world just matter and material, or is there something more to it? Jagat Swarupa, nature of this world. Five, why is there suffering? What is the nature of Bandha? Bandha Swarupa, nature of bondage. Six, what is freedom from this suffering? Moksha Swarupa, nature of liberation. 7, primary and secondary sadhanas. And 8, qualities of a wise person. So these are generally the topics that will be covered in a Prakarana Grantha. Some of these subtopics may be dwelled on a little more than others. And generally, the title of the Prakarana Grantha will indicate what the subject matter is. So, like Sadhana Panchakam. So, as the name suggests, it is focused on the different sadhanas that are present in a Vedic culture, which will prepare oneself so that one may attain the sadhya, the goal. Then, in teaching the Prakarana Grantha, some other features are observed. So, what are they? One is paribhasha, certain key terminology. Then there is, of course, the key teaching. One also sees yukti, so shruti anukula tarka, logical statements or arguments that are in support of the shruti vakya. Drishtantaha, examples, analogies. Purva paksha, objections to the teaching. And siddhanta, refutation of these objections and a clear established position. So Prakarana Granthas are very important in the Advaita Vedanta pursuit and serve as a bridge between the seeker who is a bit lost and doesn't know where to begin, bridging the gap to the rather complicated, apparently paradoxical, cryptic Upanishadic statements. Of course, for the ones who understand, the Upanishads are super clear, but for the one who is not clear, it is paradoxical. So then when we are looking at the range of contribution of Adi Shankaracharya, it is just so mind-boggling. And his Prakarana Granthas, they vary in their complexity and the Shishya to whom it is addressed. So some of the beginner level, we can look at it as 3 levels. Beginner level might be works like Tattvabodha, Sadhana Panchakam, Atmabodha. Why? Because they give fundamental definitions and core ideas for beginners. And so it's appropriate for people who don't have too much knowledge of Sanskrit or have rather basic knowledge, and they have no Shastra background whatsoever. Of course, Vedanta can and is taught in any language across the world as long as we retain what are Sanskrit non-translatables and explain it. Then is the intermediate level. So texts like Aparoksha Anubhuti, Viveka Chudamani, they offer a comprehensive framework and a rather nuanced understanding. And third is advanced level. So Shankara's very beautiful composition, Upadesha Sahasri, Vakya Vritti, they offer a little more in-depth understanding with a lot of references to the Mula Grantha, or rather the Upanishads. So scholars, of course, debate which are the texts that can be definitively attributed to Shankaracharya. Okay, because after Bhagavad Pada Adi Shankaracharya, Shankaracharya has also become a title. And so it is possible that there are many compositions that might be written by subsequent Shankaracharyas, but might be attributed to him. I'm not really sure whether we will be able to resolve this. So in any case, there are some which are accepted widely as contributions of Adi Shankaracharya. And some of these are Upadesha Sahasri, 1,000 teachings, Viveka Chudamani, the crest jewel of discrimination or discernment, Atmabodha, self-knowledge, Tattvabodha, knowledge of the truth, Aparoksha Anubhuti, direct knowledge, Vakya Vrittihi, an analysis of statements. So what we will do today and tomorrow is look at some of these Prakarana Granthas and look at what is unique about each of them. Of course, 2 days or rather 2 hours is one cannot do justice to the greatness of Adi Shankaracharya, and I seek his forgiveness because we will only be focusing on a few. So we start with the basic primer, Tattvabodha, which is knowledge of the reality. Now, any body of knowledge has its meta terms, Like Microsoft Windows is an operating system. So suppose I tell you, open Excel. I don't mean that, oh, you must excel in whatever you do. Or if I say open Windows, I don't mean like open the shutters of the window, right? So the word Windows, the word Excel, in the context of using your PC, has a certain meaning. So likewise, there are a lot of colloquial terms that are used in our day-to-day language, but when it is used in Vedanta, it is used in a specialized way and must be understood in that way alone. So Tattvabodha is a primer on Vedantic terminology and very useful for those who have minimal background in the Shastra. So very often it is taught before teaching the Bhagavad Gita also, because suddenly you are faced with Atma and you're like, what? What is this Atma? Okay. So what is beautiful about Tattvabodha is that it uses a logical question and answer format, anticipating the learner's questions, and creates a very beautiful natural learning progression. So a lot of students remark, I was thinking about this question and it got answered. And that's the genius of Shankaracharya. So straight away, it begins with the foundational qualifications. Sadhana Chatushtaya Kim. So they are listed. Then each of them is explained. Nitya Anitya Vastu Vivekaha Kaha. What is this discriminative, distinguishing knowledge between Nitya and Anitya Vastu? So that explanation is given. Nityam Vastu Ekam. So what is eternal is one limitless, one. Nityam Vastu Ekam Brahma. Tad Vyatiriktam Anyat Sarvam Anityam. Very simple Sanskrit. So Nitya Vastu here doesn't mean an object. Vastu means reality in this context. So the timeless reality is one limitless Brahman. Anyat Sarvam, everything else is Anityam, is time bound. Situations, experiences, thoughts, memories, relationships, all are time bound. Am I cursing you? No, this is the reality. This is Viveka. Ayameva Nitya Anitya Vastu Viveka. This alone is seeing the reality of what is timeless and what is time bound. Then, simply, what is Viraga? What is dispassion? Iha Swarga Bhogeshu Icha Rahityam. So, there is an absence of longing for pleasures, for bhoga here here as in iha as well as swarga. So how come? Because you have outgrown it. You have been there, done that, and therefore there is viragaha, there is an objectivity, a dispassion, or you have, through the process of inquiry, recognized that I can do without this. Shamadi Shatka Sampatti Kaha. What is that sixfold inner wealth? Unfortunately, these days, wealth for us is only money. But there is, the Gita also talks about Devi Sampatti, this wealth of the Devas. And here also, to be qualified for Vedanta, are you rich? So rich in what? Shama Dama Uparama Titiksha Shraddha Samadhanam Cha Iti. So the sixfold wealth is Shamaha. Shamaha Kaha. What is Shama? Mano Nigraha, mastery of the mind. So if one has lived for 20 plus years, there is enough hurt, guilt, regret, anxiety these days, mental health issues that have been picked up. And so by understanding the ways of the mind and by working with it, we are able to be masters of our mind such that we can use our mind as an instrument. That is mastery of the mind. So that when you are pursuing moksha, or rather doing shravanam, your mind can go with the words. They don't stop to think about the past or plan for the future, fully present, fully with the words of the Shastra. Then second qualification of Shamadhi Shatka Sampatti is Damaha. Damakaha Chakshuradi Bahya Indriya Nigrahaha. So mastery over the external sense organs. We all know you walk into a supermarket thinking that, oh, I just need to buy a toothpaste. And then what happens? Then you see a lot of things, especially at the counter, very cleverly um, arranged counter. So there will be chocolates and there will be other things and very good deals. So you cannot resist yourself. So all mastery goes out of the window. So here, with respect to all things that can seemingly distract you from the moksha pursuit, you have Dhamma, Uparama Kaha, Swadharma Anushtanameva. This is a qualification. So if you are running away from your family because you want peace of mind in Vedanta, that's not correct. Okay. Your qualification is that you are able to perform your Swadharma, not once, not twice, every day. Okay. So your dharma in all your roles, your duties, your responsibilities, the responsibilities towards Manushyaha, other beings, Pitras, ancestors, Devas, deities, Bhutaha, environment, and Acharyaha, or the Vedic culture, Guru. Okay, so towards all of them and your family and your work and whoever else you are related with, performing your Swadharma involves Samanya Dharma, Vishesha Dharma, Panchamaha Yajna, and the change you wish to contribute to the world. This is a qualification, okay, before you come to Vedanta. Then Titiksha. She Titiksha Ka. So Ka, why Kaha Ka? Because feminine. Okay, Shitoshra Sukha Dukkhadi Sahishnutvam. This capacity to put up with all the difficulties of life. Okay, so now we are in the summer season in India. Everyone is reeling with the heat. So we can increase the heat, our tapaha, by saying it's so hot, it's so hot, it's so hot. Well, what do you think is going to happen in summer, at least in India? Of course, it's going to be hot. Okay, so without doing mono, constant murmuring and complaining, being able to put up with all this. Then Shraddha, Idrishi, of what nature is this Shraddha? Guru Vedanta Vakyeshu Vishvasaha Shraddha. Shraddha is trust in the words of the teacher and the scriptures, recognizing that the Guru says nothing else but Shastra Vakya. Samadhanam Kim Chitta Ekagrata. Chitta Ekagrata. So one thing, you have only one thing in your mind at a time. One pointedness. And then finally, mumukshutvam kim. So these are all qualifications. Moksho me bhuyat iti ichha. I have this very deep, intense, burning desire that let there be freedom for me. Freedom from what? A sense of bondage. Why do you say sense? Because if the bondage was real, it would never go away. It is not real, but it is experienced. And therefore, it is a sense of bondage. Anyway, you are muktaha. But to recognize that all these qualifications are important. And what for? For Tattva Vivekaha. What is Tattva Vivekaha? Atma Satyam Tad Anyat Sarvam Mithya Iti. Then further, Atmakaha. So you can see how progressively Tattvabodha is building on the meaning of each word and introducing new words to us. So Atma, colloquially we will say or think it is some third person, some third entity. We say uske Atma ko shanti mile. May that person's Atma, as if I have a body, I have a mobile phone, I have an Atma, as if Atma is something other than me. Okay? But Atma is to be understood as I. But then how does Tattvabodha, Atmakaha, Sthula Sukshma Karana Sharirad Vyatiriktaha, that which is other than the gross, subtle, and causal body. Then there are two, three other words also. So now I thought I had only one body, you know. This Sthula Sharira Kaha, Kim, what is this gross body you're talking about? That also has a few elements to it. And it's so beautiful when you see the definition that you realize that the body is meant to die. Because Panchikrita Pancha Mahabhutaihi, it is made up of these grossified five elements, okay, space, water, air, fire, earth. Then how it came about? Sat karma janyam kritam. It has come about because of your good karma, so punya papa, etc. Then what is the nature of this body? Sukha dukkhadi bhogayatanam. Oh, but I'm having all this pain. Body, you will have pain. Oh, I have this illness. Body, you will have illness. Oh, I had a fabulous time on the boat ride. Body, you will definitely have sukha experience. And then what will the shariram go through? Oh, it will go through 6 stages. Asti, it exists. Jayate, it is born. Vardhate, it grows. Then grows, then mooch comes, okay. And then height grows. Vardhate, so, and then viparinamate. So metamorphosis takes place. Apakshiyate, you need spectacles, you need hearing aid, you need walking stick, etc. And then finally, what? Vinashyati. This is the definition. Shad vikarat etat sthula sharira. So this is the definition of the gross body, that as long as you have a body, you will experience sukha dukkha. There's no escape from it. As long as you have a body, you will experience change in the body. And so when you are awake to this reality, then why resist it? The reason we have so much sorrow, or rather anxiety, is because we don't want reality to be what it is. But that's the nature of the body. Even if you do Kaya Kalpa treatment, even if you try to, put all these neural links, now these new chips that will come in a few years' time, what can you do, max? You will lengthen. Maybe what you might go to Purna Ayu, maybe 100, 120 years. What else? Nothing more. Because this is the nature of the human body. But the important thing that Tattvabodha is highlighting is that you are other than. So what kind of a definition is this? If I ask you what is a cow, you are telling me what it is not a horse, it is not an elephant, it is not a crocodile. Okay, you are saying Atma is other than the Sthula, Sukshma, Karana, Sharira. Then what else do you want to say about the Atma? Oh, by the way, it is Satchidananda Rupaha, Sun, ever remaining, Yahatishtati, Sa Atma. And also, by the way, it is Avasthatraya Sakshi, it is the witness of the three states of experience, Panchakosha Titaha. So there is something more to be said about Panchakosha Titaha, the one who cannot be mistaken to be identified with five errors of personality. So Atma is other than the body. So that doesn't mean that the body does not exist. Body is the Atma. Atma is not the body. Both these statements have to be understood correctly. So as we see, we need not resist the nature of the body because now we understand it clearly. But still, then persisting, the student asks, but tarhi Atma kaha, what is this Atma? Oh, okay. It is the nature of Sat Chetan Ananda. What is this Sat? Sat kim? Kalatraye pitishtati iti Sat. Anything that you know of, an object, a relationship, an experience, it starts in time, it ends in time. But that Satyam, that reality, which exists in all three periods of time, so whatever you call as past, present, future, even exceeding the time of this earth and the galaxies and all forms. So that which always is, that is Satyam, that is you. But space also, I think, has existed for a long time, but space is inert. Therefore, another word is introduced, Chit, Chit Kim, Jnana Swarupaha. So, what your nature is that of consciousness. That not only do you always exist, you illumine everything else. You are self-evident. Everything else, therefore, becomes evident to you. Everything is known because you shine. You are Swata Prakashaha. Okay? But for how long? And so what about it? You are also Ananda. So Ananda, we understand as an experiential word. Experiential word, because now I am having amras, mango juice. No, mango season is going on. So now it is getting over. So I've already had 3/4 of the mango juice. Now little bit is left. So I had so much sukha. Now, if I have it, it will be over. There will be dukkha. If I don't have it, then I am watching it. I want to taste it. So now there is a gap between me, the wanting subject, and the object of my desire. But when there is a fusion, when the subject and object meet, then there is ananda. But this is experiential. The seeker, who is the wanting one, when is in harmony with all objects in the creation, there is no subject-object divide. That is the recognition of Ananda. What Ananda kaha? Sukha Swarupaha. Evam Satchidananda Swarupam Swatmanam Vijaniyat. May you know. So you may do personality tests. You may go for astrological reading. You may analyze yourself in terms of Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. But what? Vijaniyat, may you know what you really are, is Satchidananda. That Ananda is your Swarupa. That limitless, which is you, which is ever consciousness, present in all three periods of time. It manifests as Ananda in the mind, and it manifests as love in a dynamic interaction. So, as we see, Tattvabodha defines fundamental words like Adhikaritvam, Jiva, Atma, Brahman, Jagat, world, Ishvara, Mahavakya, Tattvamasi, Jivan, Mukti, freedom while living. What it also does is it unfolds prakriyas. Some people call Tattvabodha basic book. Actually, Tattvabodha is not so basic because it includes 2-3 teaching methodologies. So one prakriya is of the Dehatraya prakriya. Then there is the Avasthatraya prakriya, which is pointing out through a process that you are the witness of the 3 changing experiences, states of experience. Panchakosha Viveka, that you are other than these 5 errors of mistakes that are made related to the body, mind, sense complex. So what Tattvabodha does is it prepares students for more complex texts because it establishes a solid foundation. Then Jiva Kaha, Avidya Upadhi San Atma Jiva Iti Uchyate. So this Atma is as though enclosed or as though conditioned by avidya, and therefore thinks that whatever is associated with this body mind is me, Mr. Jeeves or Miss Jeeves, Jiva. Then what about Ishvara? Maya Upadhi San Atma Ishvara Iti Uchyate. So this being that is associated with Jagat Karanam has Maya Shakti. That being a as though conditioning form. Conditioning, I mean, upadhi. Upadhi, that is the function, the manifestation, the function of Ishvara, that is called Ishvara. Then what? As long as, now this is nice, as long as the Bheda Drishti, from in childhood, in our school, we were often asked to answer the question, differentiate between something, okay, two things. So this Bheda Drishti has been developed from childhood. We're always looking at what is the difference between me and the other. And it often gets heightened and amplified. So what Shankaracharya is telling us to Tattvabodha is evam upadhi bheda jiveshwara bheda drishtihi. As long as yavat paryantam tishtati, tavat you are going to suffer from samsara. Janma maranadi rupa samsaraha. So there is always some sorrow related to samsara or samsari. So then what should we do? This bheda buddhi, tasmat karanat, na svikarya, do not accept it. Do not reconcile what to do. I am this alpagnya. Ishvara is sarvagnya. I will always be dasoham, etc., etc. That is a wonderful bhava to have. And as Hanumanji said, deha drishtya tu dasoham. Wonderful. Have this bhava of being a dasa. But is this difference absolutely real? No. So this upadhi is only pointing, upadhi shunyam, when you take off the upadhi, the seeming conditioning form, then what is it? It is Shuddha Chaitanyam. That is Tatpada Lakshyartha, Tvam-pada Lakshyartha. So that is the beauty of Tattvabodha. Then we go to Atmabodha. So Atmabodha, another beautiful Prakarana Grantha of Shankaracharya, which means the knowledge of the self. So Atmabodha. Very concise text of 68 verses, and it presents the essence of Advaita using very elegant metaphors. So unlike Tattvabodha's prose, Atmabodha uses shlokas or padya. It makes it more structured and easier to memorize. So like you look at the opening verse, very beautiful, and you see the reflection of Tattvabodha in Atmabodha as in other Prakarana Granthas. Tapo bhihi kshina papanam shantanam vitaraginam mumukshunam apekshoyam atmabodho vidhiyate. So in the beginning, he always talks about the vivaksha. What is the tatparya? Why am I writing this? Is it because I have no other work to do? No, no. I am composing this Atmabodha. Why? For mumukshus, at the beginning, only the adhikari qualities are mentioned. And who is this mumukshu? Who has been purified by tapas, by religious austerities, then who has earned a lot of punya by doing karma, who is shantaha, peaceful, peaceful in heart, and vitaraginam is free from binding desires. So the way Atmabodha is structured is the first 1 to 5 verses are laying out the roadmap to moksha. The second verse itself, bodhonya sadhanebhyo hi sakshan mokshaika sadhanam pakasya bandhivat jnanam vina moksho na siddhyati. So the very beautiful metaphors start right at the beginning. So just as for for cooking food, pakasya bandhi is required. For any cooking, fire is required. You'll say, no, I will eat salad. That's okay, but that is not cooking. But in cooking, when you use the word cooking, so many things are involved: washing, cutting, cleaning, chopping, sauteing, frying, and adding spices, etc., etc. But without fire, which is the direct cause, whatever you put as vegetable or sambar or whatever you are cooking, it will not, everything else you can do, but fire is most important in certain preparations. Okay, so just as fire is the direct cause of cooking, so too for moksha, sakshat ekasadanam. What is that? Bodhaha. So now what is interesting is Shankaracharya wants us to appreciate that everyone wants moksha. Everyone wants to be happy at all times, in all places, in all situations. Okay. Then, of course, we look here and there and try to find it, and then we are not happy with what we find. Okay, we still haven't found what we were looking for. So then what? Acharya says, you know what? The real problem is you don't know who you are. And therefore, because you have ignorance, you have avidya, therefore bodha is important. Therefore, knowledge is important. So you can do any sadhana in the world. You can chant mantras, you can go to Tirtha Kshetra, you can do all kinds of tapas. All of them are helpful, they are valid, they are useful, they are very important, but they will only prepare your mind. Go, even if you go to Swarga, Shine Punya Marti Lokam Vishanti. You have a nice holiday and come back after your punya runs out. Okay. So all sadhanas are helpful for mastery, but Atma Bodha, until you know what you really are, there is no moksha for you. Then verses 6 to 14 talk about the problem of adhyasa. So superimposition, which involves mixing up of the Atma and the Anatma. Anatma is really name and form. And as a result of which we experience sorrow. So another elegant example is given. Yatha kasho rishi keshaha nanopadhi gato vibhuhu tad bhedad bhinnavad bhati tanna ke tan ashe kevalo bhavet. So just as this all-pervading space, yatha akashaha, appears nana, very diverse. Why? Because there is small pot, big pot, gold pot, iron pot, copper pot, etc. But it becomes one, rather it was always one, when you see that a pot cannot really enclose space. So too, Tadvat, Rishikeshaha, referring to Ishvara, appears as diverse on account of upadhi, on account of these different forms and functions, but it is actually one. Then verses 15 to 30 talk about the essential Vedanta teaching of Jiva Ishvara Aikyam, oneness. And again, another beautiful example. Swabodhe nanyabodhe cha bodha rupatayatmanaha nadipasyanyadeepe cha yatha swatma prakashane. Swabodha, just as a deepaha, a lighted lamp, does not need another lamp to light it. So Atma, you being consciousness, you don't need another instrument to light you. Rather, because you are self-illumining, and then because of that, you are aware of everything, and what you are aware of, you are not. You are much more than your ideas, your identities, your thoughts, your memories, your emotions. And then, so what to do? I'm not quite clear. Nishidhya nikhilopadhi neti neti ti vakyataha vidyad aikyam mahavakyaihi jivatma paramatmanoho. So then, these upadhis that are there, these seemingly conditioning forms, by doing nishedha, by negating, rather negation means seeing the reality of what it is, that it is all name and form and function, that's about it, but it does not exist independently. And so how do you do that? Neti neti, na iti, na iti. Is it timeless? No. Does it always exist? No. Neti neti. And by doing that, may you know Vidyat, Aikyam. So doing neti neti of this form, that is the jiva, what is it that outlives the body mind? Which cannot be done only through logic. You need Shruti Vakya. What is it about Ishvara that is unchanging? Because with respect to the functions of this Jagat. There is creation, manifestation, sustenance, resolution. So functions are changing. But what is it that is unchanging about both you, Jiva, and Ishvara, Shuddha Chaitanya? So that is pointed out in Atmabodha as well. Then 31 to 41, Nididhyasana, contemplation, which breaks habitual patterns. So in Nididhyasana, we are not looking for new knowledge. We are not looking for a special mystical experience. All that has been learnt or heard in Shravanam and has been clarified through Mananam, whereby you have freed the knowledge from any kind of weakness or error or doubt. You just stay with Aham Purnaha. Or there are different words that are used for Nididhyasana. You see yourself as the meaning of that word. Then finally, in Atma Bodha, there is a glory and benefit of self-knowledge that is mentioned. So, Akhandananda Rupasya Tasyananda Lavashritaha Brahmadyastaratam Yena Bhavantya Nandino Lavaha. So, very interesting. Shankaracharya is mentioning that the Ananda of the Indra, Devas like Brahmaji and Indra, is only lava, is just like a particle of Ananda, particle of Akhanda Ananda, that Ananda which is not subject to any break or division, which is the nature of Brahman. It is not subject to Taratamya, this gradation. And here he is actually quoting Taittiriya Upanishad. So in Taittiriya Upanishad, there is this wonderful calculus of Ananda in Brahmananda Mimamsa. And there is a mention, Yuva Syat Sadhu Yuva Dhyayakaha Ashishto Dridishto Balishtaha Tasyeyam Prithivi Sarva Vittasya Purna Syat Sa Eko Manusha Anandaha. So imagine there is this one sadhu, sadhu, good person, okay, good person, and who is young, not restless, very dynamic, very hardworking, very efficient. And imagine he has the wealth of this entire earth. What an achiever, and what great willpower. He's dridishta balishtaha, very strong. Then imagine what kind of ananda he will have. Okay, so eka manusha anandaha. So this is human beings ananda, happiness. Then just scale it to 100. So that 100 units of that one ananda is sa eko manushya gandharvanam anandaha. 100 units of manushya's ananda is equal to 1 unit of manushya gandharva. So a different kind of a being, manushya who has done lot of karma upasana and then has gone higher up, okay, in our 7 up realms, and is enjoying that kind of happiness. So like that, there are 7, 8 beings that are mentioned. And then it finally ends with Indrasyanandaha and Brahma Anandaha. So 1 unit of this Manushya Gandharva Ananda is equated then to another being's Ananda. And so it just goes on, and the more subtle form that you have, greater can be the joy you experience. So as a 20-year-old, the health that you enjoy is definitely much more than at the age of 80. So what Shankaracharya has brought in all this Brahmananda Mimamsa into just this one shloka, okay? And this is the beauty of the Prakarana Grantha, that you have not yet gone to the Upanishad, but you can appreciate this. And then he says, but in Taittiriya, Shrotriyasya cha kamahatasya, but all the gradation of Ananda cannot compare with the Ananda of the Shrotriya and Akamahataha, of the one who has listened to the Shastra systematically with a learned guru, and from whom all desires have dropped off. There are no more burning desires. So that is Swarupanandaha. That one is limitless, one is fullness, and nothing can add or take away from it. So we see that Tattvabodha has a progressive structure. It's a little more advanced than Tattvabodha, but little less than Upadesha Sahasri. It also explains some key terms like avidya, maya, and so on. Okay, and then includes verses for contemplation, nididhyasana. Then we can go to, let me see what the time is like. We go to Viveka Chudamani. Okay, so Viveka Chudamani is quite elaborate, almost 580 verses, and follows a similar pattern, very detailed, elaborates on qualifications of a seeker, the nature of guru, shishya relationship, nature of bondage, so on and so forth. So there is one verse which is very often quoted, Durlabham trayame vaitat devanugraha hetukam manushyatvam mumukshutvam mahapurusha samshrayaha. So when Puja Swamiji would be introduced, he would like this verse to be quoted, which points out to the fact that life is such a blessing and that there are three things that are indeed so rare. And what is that? And how do they come? They come only via Deva Anugraha, through the grace of Bhagwan. What is that? Manushyatvam, to have a human birth. All dog lovers, we say, oh, I would love to be a dog, but you want to be a dog with a good master, okay? So all animal forms are what we recognize as Papa Yonis. They are Bhoga Shariras. So you just have to undergo whatever is your prarabdha. But and as a deva, again, so much punya you have, but only in manushyatvam you have the capacity for moksha. And there are, of course, there are a few exceptions, but the human birth, it has just the right combination of punya papa for you to recognize that you were always muktaha. Then the second thing that is a rare gift is mumukshutvam. So although everyone wants to be happy at all times, in all places, in all situations, everybody wants moksha in some way or the other, but there are very few people who discern and who commit to the pursuit, who say, well, you know what, I am not willing to reconcile with this kabhi khushi, kabhi gum. So little happiness, sometimes little sadness. I'm not willing to reconcile with this. I want freedom from sorrow. And so recognizing this, and then the third thing is Mahapurusha Samshraya. That, you know, one may recognize this, but may be wanting for want of a guru. And so what to do? It is only through punya that you will find your guru. You know, we all of us have been so deeply blessed in our lives because of the lineage we belong to and the gurus we've had. So only in the samshraya, in the presence and the teaching of a wise person, these are, you know, this verse highlights for us the urgency of the moksha pursuit, that you cannot take your life for granted. It is very fragile, and so you want to make the most of it. And so then what to do? Then you approach a teacher. So how to know the teacher? Okay, if you recognize that you have this mumukshutvam and then you need a guru, then what to do? Well, who is a guru? Viveka Chudamani says, Shrotriya, the one who has studied the Shastras, who belongs to a sampradaya. Always check who is that person's guru and so on and so forth. Because if you belong to the sampradaya, you can't go wrong. It is tried and tested way of, you know, all the gurus have come as a part of sampradaya. Anyone who claims that they are creating something new or innovative, run away from them, okay? You can learn from them for other subjects, but not for Brahma Vidya. Then who else? Akamahataha, not afflicted by desires. Brahmavid, who is a knower of Brahman. And Uparataha, whose mind is resolved in Brahman. Ahetuka daya sindhuhu, very beautiful word, samasa. In fact, in when we do Ashtotara Namavali, we say Ahetuka daya sindhave namaha. A person, a guru who is an ocean of compassion, and there is no agenda except for the commitment to the growth of the Shishya. So, such an ocean of compassion, we stand in the parampara of Puja Swami Dayananda, whose name is really meaning compassion. We stand in that parampara too. So, the one who is also a bandhu, who is a helpful friend. So, what to do? What magnifying glass can we find to find a guru? Well, just, make it simple. Go to someone who belongs to a sampradaya and then test the waters. Then, if you think, oh, the person is consistent and you are being benefited from what the person is saying, then what to do? You approach the person. Okay. So, how? Approach you, please, Tamaradhya Guru Bhaktya. So, Viveka Chudamani is very clear, the Shastra is very clear. Do not read on your own. So, even though you may know Sanskrit, do not read on your own. Do not start a study group. Do not read and watch videos. Do not ask ChatGPT. Okay. So, all this is a generic information that is fine. But have the humility, just like Arjuna, although an accomplished warrior, had the humility to say, this thing I don't know. So otherwise, with a lot of other people, we find there's so much inner pressure to teach. And so you want to teach without being taught. So here Viveka Chudamani says that, go to a guru. But you are looking for a perfect guru. The question I would like to ask you, are you a perfect student? So Viveka Chudamani then talks about nature of bondage. And then there, I'll just close with this one example. It gives a lovely imagery. So just as the silkworm lays a trap for itself with all its threads and, accumulates a lot of things, the jiva considers all the things around the form and the things that it accumulates as real and then dies away. Because due to ignorance of oneself, pushyati, nourishes, anoints it. So because of this unholy combination of avidya, kama, karma, there is the experience of bondage. And then it goes on to talk about Shraddha and purification of the mind, the qualities of the wise person, the nature of the self. And finally, the student says, Dhanyoham, Kritakrityoham, due to your grace, I am blessed. Vimuktoham, I have accomplished all that was to be accomplished. Nityananda Swarupoham, I am the nature of Ananda, always free from a sense of lack. Because of your anugraha, the Guru's anugraha. So we will look at Aparoksha Anubhuti, Upadesha Sahasri, and a few other Prakarana Granthas, whatever time permits, tomorrow. It was lovely to be with all of you. And I close. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om.
Namaste, Namaste Swamini ji. It was a beautiful exposition of the starting of epistemology of what under the Vedanta, what, why, and how of the Vedanta. Every one of us wants to get rid of all dukkhas, and everybody wants to have the happiness. But both getting rid of dukkha and getting happiness on a perpetual basis, atyantik dukkha nivritti and paramananda prapti, through process of Vedanta. For that purpose, there are various granthas like Prasthanatrayi, Bhashya Grantha, Siddhi Grantha, Kvartik Grantha, and Prakarana Grantha. The best epistemology for that is in all Prakarana Granthas. You have explained it beautifully, two Prakarana Granthas. Ultimate aim is that what Adi Shankaracharya summarized all these Granthas in just one stanza or half a stanza. Shlokardhena pravapshyami yaduktan grantha kotibihi brahma satyam jagan mithya jivo brahmaiva naparaha. That was fantastic exposition by you. We hope that we will receive the same and similar expositions for all the Prakarana Granthas from Adi Shankaracharya. Thank you once again. Thank you very much. Viewers, tomorrow morning we will have the privilege of listening to Mahavakya Vichara from Manikandan Iyer-ji, Vidwan Manikandan Iyer-ji. Please join us at 7 a.m. Indian Standard Time tomorrow morning. Thank you.